Welcome to this week's PT podcast. So this week I am joined by Laura, our digital strategist, and Emer, our account manager from our client services team, and I myself, Porrick, our client services team manager. And this week we're going to talk about common digital marketing myths. So first up, we have, if I build a website, people will come.
Yeah, I would say that I work on search engine optimization strategies for clients. We would always say that you need to have an effective SEO strategy to make sure that you're actually turning up in the search engine results. So you can have the best website with the best functionality, but if it isn't turning up for people on Google, they're not going to click on it really. So you're going to have no organic traffic. So I would say that you need to have a good SEO strategy integrated with the website as well.
I think from a client services perspective, because we would deal with most of our commercial clients who'd come in for things like websites. Websites are a really good place to start, but unless you have a way to kind of direct your customers to your website, it's not going to benefit you at all, because if you don't have content that has keywords that will be coming up in their searches, or if you don't have maybe a social media presence that's kind of leading your customers to your website's not really going to be very effective in terms of actually helping you convert to leads or sales.
I think there's a lot of people as well. I find like, working in client services, people get caught up on visuals and design of the website. And like you can have the best looking website, it can look amazing, and people tend to focus on like desktop websites. It will look great, but if that doesn't translate over to mobile, the majority of users are using mobiles, so they're not going to see the same website that you visualize as well. I think you need to focus on things like backlinks. So backlinks are external links that link to your site, so they help build your domain authority. So that's a really big factor nowadays with Google and search results. So it's something that's needed to help place you higher up in search results. So there's a lot of, the website is kind of like more like the foundation, and there's a lot of kind of side work and work around that you need to do. Like as well, content, you can have, again, a really visually good looking website, but if it's short on content, like you need to aim for over like 750 words a page, or else Google is not going to rank it. So again, you're going to have a really good looking website out there, but nobody's going to be really coming to it, especially from search results. If you have business cards or something with your URL or website address printed on it, people will find it, but organic search, people aren't going to come across your website. Next up, we have quotes. We just need to go viral.
Yeah, I would say a lot of clients have this desire when they come and work on social media strategy with me, particularly within TikTok. They just think that they'll put one singular TikTok up, go viral, and then that's the business sorted. They'll get loads of sales from it. We would always kind of manage expectations that even if you do go viral, sometimes that doesn't build lasting relationships with people. So the way the algorithm works is that video in particular could be pushed, but then you could find with the next video that you're back down to say 100 or 200 views. So we would always recommend, posting consistently on the platforms is more important and building that relationship with your audience, as opposed to maybe jumping on a trend that isn't really applicable for your business, or doesn't really match your brand message. So I would say going viral is achievable, but consistency is better.
People might think going viral is a really good thing for them, but if that's not converting into sales or leads, then it's not really benefiting your business at all. People might know of your business and maybe that will convert to like a sale or a lead down the line, but at the time it could just be views. And views are obviously great for pushing your content, but if they're not translating into sales, then it's not always worth it.
Completely.
I think, yeah, it needs to be like part of a bigger strategy. Like it can help a lot with maybe brand recognition if it's a new brand, but like overall business goals, is that going to lead to like leads and conversions? And especially like Laura, what you were saying about, is it their target market? So, if you have a brand that's aiming at people like of an older age or a certain demographic that aren't online as much, and it goes viral and it's all like 18 to 20-year-olds sharing and watching on TikTok, it's not really going to translate into like any value to the company if they're not the kind of people that are the market that they're targeting. So next up, we have SEO is a one-time job. The SEO is kind of always ongoing. It's something that, for better or for worse, that you're never effectively finished with. You can obviously get to point, but as we know, it's really quickly to kind of, you can get somewhere, well, not really quickly, but you could easily kind of get up to a point, but it's very quickly or very easily you can lose that advantage or kind of fall back from it.
We would always tell clients that, if your competitors are constantly evolving the website or constantly updating it, if you stop, then they will start to outrank you. A lot of the commercial work that I specifically would do, and then also Emer and Park would help me with, is the SEO retainer packages. So essentially the premise of it is that you're consistently building on the SEO within the website. I think a lot of clients think that, okay, I'll get it sorted, I'll do a bulk upload and I'll do it within, say, 2 months, and then I'm going to leave the website for the next 10 years. That doesn't really work anymore in terms of Google rankings, because there's just an influx in particular of AI content writing. You have to continuously update your website. So as you kind of alluded to, for better, for worse, it will have to be integrated into your strategy every month, I would say.
I think we see a lot of it on the commercial side of things, that if a client has maybe got a website 3 or 4 years ago and then they haven't really updated it, haven't added any new content or like updated any images, they'll maybe wonder why, say, a page that they had, a service page that was ranking number 1 on Google, has now gone to like 3rd page in terms of search results. And it's like, you can't explain how beneficial it is, even with older content on your website, to continuously go in, update that, because then it'll rank a lot better than it would if you just left it there. And I think we always would explain it to clients, like, if you get a car, you can't just buy your car and never get it serviced. You kind of have to continuously look at your website often and continuously, update it and actually take care of it for it to rank as successfully as you want it to. It's particularly, I think, with, older clients who we've worked with for a few years, it can be quite frustrating if you've, paid for a website and you want it to be optimized, but unless you're kind of servicing it year on year, it's not going to stay number 1.
I think as well, recently, like talking to Kieran about the algorithm changes and AI, like for Google search results. So even our own website, because a lot of it was informational pages, like informational content on websites is effectively being punished now, because like the Google AI search, if you see the first kind of result at the top, if you ask it a question, it'll usually give you the answer. So that stops a lot of people clicking into pages. So it really affects traffic. So what Kieran was saying, that it needs to be more like service focused, because a lot of the informational stuff will just be answered on the Google results page itself and people won't be clicking into the websites. So, 2 years ago or even a year ago, it would have been focused on, a lot of informational content, a bulk of content, like a high volume of content. But now it's almost like you'd need to go back and kind of shift and rewrite some of that content so it's more service focused. So I think like that, you're kind of at the mercy of Google a little bit. So
Yeah.
you're never finished, because like that, there can be such a big change in something like AI can come along and kind of work that you've previously done that was of a high standard, that was helping you rank, kind of now needs to be changed and redone. Right. So next up, back to social media. So posting on social media is enough.
Yeah, I would say this is quite common misconception with my clients in particular. As we've kind of mentioned, social media is completely saturated nowadays. So to be seen in the first place is quite a difficult task. So we say you're always at the mercy of the algorithm, on social media, kind of similar to what Bork is alluding to with Google, that if you're only posting on social media, whatever the trends are, whatever the algorithmic preferences are, you're kind of at the mercy of that. Whereas, say, if you do integrate it with the likes of email marketing, your website, different strategies, at least you have that to fall back on if, your social media does take a dip. So we would always say, you wouldn't rely on it for your entire presence. It's a very good presence to have, particularly to target younger demographics. But I think there needs to be different measures in place as well as social media.
Yeah, I think it can kind of go hand in hand with like updating your website, like repurposing your content, just making sure that everything there is up to date as well. It kind of goes hand in hand. And if you are going to do like paid ads or anything like that all goes hand in hand with social media and your website as well. So I think unless it's part of a bigger strategy, it on its own is probably not enough. Like, I suppose it does depend on the type of business that you are, because some businesses obviously do rely solely on social media and that's their entire presence and it works for them. But I think for a lot of bigger businesses or kind of different service related businesses, having a bigger strategy in place along with your social media is definitely the best way to go.
Yeah, I think if you're kind of maybe a sole trader that majority of your, say, client bookings, if you were like a beautician or something, hypothetically, if you're relying maybe on social media for, say, about 10% of your client base, and maybe the rest of it is returning customers, it's very useful in that fact. But I would say if you're trying to either build the business or, get a lot of new customers on board, as Emer said, you're going to need that holistic strategy as well.
Same with any of it, like same with SEO, same with the website. It all needs to kind of integrate. You can't really just solely focus on one area. Some businesses might lean more into social media, some might lean more into websites or email marketing, but most businesses need to be almost doing a little bit of each.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, next up is more traffic. So back to websites, more traffic equals to more sales.
I think there's quite like a misconception where people will look at, like their analytics and their website views per month. And obviously everyone does want a lot of traffic, high traffic, especially on new websites. But does the traffic really matter if it's not interested users or people who are going to convert into customers or people that are going to be beneficial to your business? Because I think we can get wrapped up in just, like we were talking about earlier, like going viral, hitting a lot of people. And obviously in terms of brand recognition, it's really important to get your brand out there so people are aware of who you are and what you can offer. But you need to be targeting the right traffic. Otherwise, it's not very beneficial for you as a business, I think.
Yeah, we would always tell our clients that you have to think of the intent of the user as well. So their purpose or goal using the website. So say, as Porg had said, if there's lots of informational content on the website, and you're leaning more into that type of content, there might be a lot of users that come onto the website, but once they receive the information, they might click off it again. Or maybe it's, say, like a jewelry company we would find in particular. There's a lot of people that can browse, maybe look for gift ideas, and then go to a competitor site and maybe never make a sale. So there typically are industries that you're going to have higher traffic that isn't converting into sales just because of the nature of the industry. So yeah, as Emer said, you have to make sure that you're attracting the right people, because there's no point attracting more people if they're not going to convert into sales for you.
I think a lot of that can be different things. It depends on the industry, or it can be that you can have everything almost right, like content. You can have a well optimized website, but then when you land the user on your website, is there a funnel there for them to kind of get, from landing on like an informational page or, just if it's a e-commerce website, a list of products, but is there a clear navigation and a way for them to get on that list of products to a specific product? Is there an easy process for them to add it to a cart to check out? So there could be a lot of things, everything is set up, you're getting high traffic, but for some reason at the checkout stage, people are abandoning their carts because there's too much questions, there's too much forms to fill out, and people get frustrated. People have very short attention spans. So there's a lot of tools and stuff you can use, the likes of Hotjar, so you can see when people, or through Google Analytics, see their journeys on the site, so that you might be getting all the traffic, but why aren't they actually converting to sales in the end? And that may depend kind of on specific sites. So if you have, something cheap and easy, like maybe clothes, like a t-shirt or a phone cover, that's maybe like 10, 20 pounds. People will usually come on and possibly buy it, there and then. But if it's a larger purchase, you maybe need to look at like the customer journey. So it's something like a laptop or, a TV. People will rarely come onto the website and see the first TV and it's £400 and buy it there and then. Usually people will, it's for larger purchases, they'll do the research. They might just come into your site, do some research, buy it somewhere else. They might visit your site 2 or 3 times. They'll look at it. They need to go speak to somebody else in the house. Should we buy this? Should we agree on it? Or wait for payday or something. So people might visit the site 3 or 4 times or even more before they actually convert and make a purchase. So a lot of it could be related to what's actually being sold and the type of products on it as well. All right, next up we have in quotation marks, email is dead.
Yeah, I would say that this is definitely a common misconception. Kind of as I talked about earlier, on social media, you are at mercy of algorithms, whereas if you do email marketing, you have complete control over this. It's a direct line of traffic to your customers. So it's going straight into an inbox as opposed to, say, passively on social media posting and maybe hoping that it shows up for them. You also can set up different segments within email campaigns. So we would recommend MailChimp as probably one of the cheapest tools that we would recommend. So you can have your different customer segments with different age demographics, different interests. And then you can give more personalized email campaigns out to those demographics so that it's more likely to convert into a sale. You obviously can do more like wider campaigns, so say the likes of newsletters and things like that. But if people are receiving a lot of emails that aren't relevant to them, they're likely to unsubscribe. So I'd say there is a lot of potential to build email marketing. A lot of clients, I think, miss out on using it. So we would encourage clients to integrate it in their digital strategy. But yes, I think there's still loads of potential within it.
Sales-based businesses, it actually is a really good way to kind of retarget people who have bought from you previously. Obviously, sometimes it can be harder to know the buying habits of, if you're reaching out, say doing like cold outreach by email marketing, that could be quite difficult. But if it's customers who are buying, like repeat customers or customers who purchased from you previously, I think it's a really good way to kind of target maybe different buying habits, or if you've got like something on sale in particular that, a group of people that would usually purchase or buy, it's a really good way to kind of re-engage people who maybe have forgotten or have become kind of dormant in terms of buying from you.
Like, I was honestly surprised when we started kind of with my first email marketing campaigns working here, like how successful they were. I think I would have probably believed in that myth before kind of getting like real experience with it. I think the only thing, there's a lot of probably pitfalls that you could fall into with email marketing. Like Laura, what you mentioned about segmentation, like it can be really frustrating for people if you're getting too many emails or a lot of like irrelevant ones. So there probably is like a fine line of not to be effectively spamming people, because then they will very quickly unsubscribe. And I think in the last few years as well with GDPR, there's a lot like of potential, to get ensure you have consent and there's unsubscribe options. So I think for anyone going in setting up email marketing campaigns, you definitely would want to do your homework a lot to ensure that you're complying with GDPR, that you're not kind of open to fines, and then also that you're not irritating effectively customers by kind of spamming them. So like to research in segmentation, research into GDPR to ensure you're compliant, and then that will help get the best out of it. So in fact, we could probably imagine people that are saying email is dead will be people who are just kind of spamming out emails and not kind of doing the proper research or homework for it. Because there is a lot of our clients or just companies in general that have like really good success from it. Right, next up we have, I can just copy my competitor's strategy. So some of the points on this that we have are, you may not have the same audience, your branding or brand voice, budget or overall goals may be different. So what works for one company or might not work for their competitor.
Brand authenticity, so essentially what separates your brand from a competitor's, is becoming more and more important nowadays, particularly with the influx of the likes of social media. It's very easy, I think, to get lost in the market, and people maybe will either miss your company or you'll mirror another competitor too closely that there's no real choice, I guess, there, or there's no clear reason as to why they should choose you. So I would say it's important to have your own strategy. What we would recommend is when you're building one, it's called customer personas. So you can create these on Word document, Canva. Essentially, you look at your main demographics based on, say, age, gender, pain points and interests. So your pain points would be what kind of stops them from availing of your services or maybe buying a product at the minute. And then how can you address that within your content? So knowing your brand voice relates to your audience really well, I think is what's going to differentiate you and is going to what, your unique selling point for people choosing to avail of your services. So I would say that would be one recommendation in terms of making sure that you're differentiating from your competitors.
People are very vocal as well now on social media and just online in general, that if you decided that, like, rather than coming up with your own strategy, like, it would be good to kind of mirror something someone else was doing, chances are there'll be someone out there that will say that or call you out on it, and it's just not great. You wouldn't be coming across as authentic. You would be coming across as, taking other people's ideas. And I just think in terms of public perception of your business and your company, that seems quite unethical. And just not something you would really want to be caught up on from like a brand point of view.
That is us for today. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you everyone who's listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.